Welcome to S.H.I.F.T, a safe haven in honor of Linda, the beloved sister and best friend of your dynamic and inspirational host, Lisa Council. You will experience uplifting and encouraging testimonies of women, men, and teens who have survived and overcome domestic abuse and trauma.
Welcome back to S.H.I.F.T. Today's guest is my beautiful, brave, and courageous sister, Brittney Anderson. Welcome, Brittney, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. I'm so grateful to be here and to be able to, share my story.
We are excited as well. So, of course, before we get started, I always like to share the tags of domestic violence. And the first one is verbal, emotional, sexual, physical, financial, spiritual, elder abuse, bullying, and cyberbullying. So, Brittney, we're going to jump right into this thing because we have so many people that we just want to hear your story and be blessed and transformed by your story and your truth. So would you mind sharing with us briefly about your story of being a victim of domestic violence?
Okay, so first off, me going through what I went through was tragic. My abuser, it's so many different stories, but I'll keep it short. There was just situations that happened where he would like choke me. It was a lot of insecurity. Um, I would never forget this one incident that happened where I'm like sleeping and he goes through my phone and I just get slapped while I'm asleep. And I'm like, why? Like, what is going on? Oh, it's just who is this guy and this guy and who is this? It was just so much insecurity. Um, but I'm so grateful that I was able to get out of that. Um, the fact that my abuser was actually someone that was really close to me. I don't really want to state names or anything like that, but it went from a situation that he would abuse me so bad in the home that it became outside the home. And when it became outside the home, that's when I knew, like, I can't, this is not right. I can't keep allowing myself, like, he would isolate me from certain people. Um, I would just go along with it because I thought, like, oh, it's love, like, oh, it's fine. He's just upset, or it's going to be okay. It's going to get better. But just seeing like the different signs, like one minute he would be fine, and then the next minute it's drama. It was just a lot. It was a lot. But an incident that happened outside of the home, I'll never forget it. And this was my breaking point. I was always so helpful, regardless of what he did to me. I was always like, I'm going to help him, whatever the case is. So he called me. He's like, hey, can you meet me at the metro station? So I was like, okay. He was like, yeah, I need some money and all of this and all that. I was like, okay, cool. I'll meet you. Just give me a moment. I didn't have direct deposit at this time. So I'm like, I gotta go cash my check and then I'll be there. So I did all of that. And of course he was waiting. So he must was calling me while I'm on the metro. You're on the metro, you don't have service and things like that, right? Um, so I get off the metro and then I just listen to all of these voicemails and it's so threatening. Like, oh, I'm up here waiting. It's hot. When you get up here, I'm gonna beat your, you know, behind and all of this different things. And I'm just like, I'm helping you. Like, how are you like, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that was so hurtful. So when I went up to him, I'm like, why did you send me all of these messages? Like, I'm here. I couldn't even say anything. It was just like, why you had me up here waiting? I was all type of B's. I was all type of names. Whore, slut, whatever. I don't wait for no one and da 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 da. It was just a lot. So I said, you know what? And mind you, this is in the public area. I said, you know what? I can't do this. So I'm walking, getting back on the metro, and he jumps the metro gate. He goes down to the platform where I am. He kicks me, pushed me. First, he punches me. He tried to take my purse. And it was really hard because people would just walk by. No one, no one tried to stop it. So to me, I'm just like, wow, like, so of course it's the metro and I'm sorry, it's the metro and of course they have metro police there. The metro police came, they must have saw everything on camera, they came down, they got him off of me and everything. And they're like, yeah, you're under arrest, da 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 da. And he's like, I don't care. I'm just gonna get out and do it again.
Wow.
Yes. So for me, I'm like, this is serious. Like, this is not a game. Like, and it was hard. It was really heartbreaking, but that was my really, really breaking point. And going through all of that, I was subpoenaed to go to court, right? To testify. I didn't want to press charges or anything because at this point, I'm fearful. I'm like, I just want to get away from this. Like, I don't want no parts in this. Like, if he threatened me in front of the police, he has no heart. He has no soul. Like, he's capable of whatever. Like, who, you know what I'm saying? Who knows? He's crazy. So, I tried to let it go. They subpoenaed me to go to court. I had to testify. That was the most devastating time in my life because I feel like the system, they don't take domestic violence serious. They
Yes.
don't take when women go through these things, and I'm gonna try not to get emotional because it's just like a flashback.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that, but I'm proud of myself for being brave.
Yes.
It took a lot to go to court every day. And to have to look my abuser in the face. I mean, you have like your lawyers and things like that, and they're like, it's okay. But I'm like, it's not okay. Like, you all don't understand. Like, I don't want to do this, but I did it. And there was situations that happened outside of the court that, like, after court, like, I'm like,
Yes.
it's my protection. Like, I don't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really hard. And I ended up going into a domestic violence safe house. That kind of helped me. But after that situation and me going to court and everything, while the court case is open, a situation happened outside the court. I'm keeping my distance, but for some reason, this person ends up finding me. And he did the same thing again, pushed me to a gate, kicked me, stomped me, just everything. And then, of course, I mean, I knew people from the area that I was in and they witnessed that. So they were able to call the police. The police came, they locked him up. He stayed in jail until his court date. After this point, I didn't go back to court. They said it was okay. I did my part. They said it was okay. They'll keep me posted on the verdict and everything like that. So when they locked him up and he went to his court date, it was like they let him go. They said time served. I said,
Wow.
where's my justice? So that was really, really hard for me. Like I said, I went into the domestic violence shelter there, I mean, I got to meet a lot of different women who also been through similar things and stuff like that. But when I was there, I just made a promise to myself, this is not the end for me. I'm going to
Yes.
take what I've been through and make it something positive. I got up, and mind you, I had a baby at that time. So I got up, I would take her to daycare, I would go to work, you know, I still held my own because I said, you know what, like, just because I went through what I went through, that doesn't define who I am.
Yeah.
And I can just help one or two or three ladies, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really, really hard for me being a mother, going through like, because it was a really, really dark place for me, I would say. But God,
Amen.
my relationship with Him became stronger. Um, and He just revealed to me like that this is not who you are. You went through it, and you got through it. So, and I'm always,
Amen.
I'm so grateful for God.
Amen.
So
Amen.
that's just a brief part of, you know, some of the things that I experienced with the domestic violence. Like I said, it was a lot of things that happened in the home, um, that I would just ignore, or I'm like, oh, he loves me, it's okay, like he's just mad or whatever, and not realizing like that's not love, like
Yeah. Ignoring those red flags. Absolutely.
yeah. So
Um, how did you share with us some of the difficulties that you faced in rediscovering yourself after going through domestic violence and having to go through the court system, realizing that unfortunately sometimes the people who are supposed to help and serve and protect us are not fully capable or trained to help and fully protect us. I've experienced that myself when I was going through. I never forget a police officer asking me, was I in fact fearful of my life from my abuser? And because I was so afraid, I said no. And he got in his cruiser and left, without
yeah.
me knowing if I was going to wake up the next morning,
Mhm.
and so I can relate to that, Brittney, but I can also assure others that there are some officers out here, who take domestic violence to heart, and they are making a difference in the lives of those who are victims of domestic violence, even when we hear about officers trying to protect others and they have lost their lives in
Mhm.
the line of duty. And we are seeing more and more where the police are, they are coming together to have summits and conferences, to educate us as victims, as advocates and survivors, on domestic violence, and even really helpful in getting, abusers to
Mhm.
the help that they need. So what challenges did you face in rediscovering Brittney? Because when we're in domestic violence, we lose a part of ourselves.
Mhm. Um, I would say, first of all, God.
Hmm.
God is the head of my life. I'm talking about, I grew up in the church, so it's kind of like you have to have that strength where you have to have the strength to know, like, no matter what, God is going to always be there. He's not going to leave us nor forsake us. So for me, my religion, like my faith, is
Hmm.
really what got me through the dark place that I was in. Um, of course, you know, the human part of me doubted myself. Um, you know, I felt like I'm not worthy, or what is it about me, or, you know, the insecurities. I had like you know, like I just didn't feel confident within myself. Like it was even hard for me to really like date again, like after that. So um, I just feel like God is really what helped me get through this, and knowing like I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Like I am more than a
Amen.
conqueror. I'm royal.
Amen.
So just saying those affirmations and quoting those scriptures, it helped me. And see, people don't understand, like you could quote scriptures all day, but they have to be embedded in you. So when you're going through these dark moments, they're there. They're there, you know. So I just had to like be in my word, honestly. I just had to really, really be in my word. I'm glad that I had women that was around me who was also supportive. Um, you know, just letting me know like it's okay. You know, don't be ashamed. You know, don't be embarrassed. So just to have those supportive women in my life was also helpful for me to get through what I got through. And like I said, I wanted to start a business, well, organization, because you can call it a business, but I wanted to start like an organization to help women. I'm like, I have to do something to help women. And that was also something that motivated me as well. So,
So, Brittney, how did you show yourself grace after going through the grief process of shedding your own identity of being a victim? Because grief comes in different forms and in different stages. And I mean, just going through a relationship, even if it was a relationship that involved domestic violence, there's still love there. So, you are giving up someone who was not in fact good for you or your child, but you loved him. So how did you deal and give yourself grace when also dealing with that part of grief?
well, for one, I knew I had to forgive him.
Amen.
So regardless, it's like he can hate me all day. I can be this terrible person, but at the end of the day, I have a heart. And for me, I just had to forgive, not for him, but for me. I had to forgive myself because I will also blame myself for staying, or blame myself for allowing certain things, like, you know, like you're supposed to be this independent woman, yada yada. How you allow that? And da 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 da. So I also had to forgive myself. So I feel like forgiveness is important. Um, and I also had to let it be known, just because I forgive a person doesn't mean I have to deal with that person. So
Amen.
um it was forgiveness, honestly, forgiveness. I had to give myself grace and say, you know what, Brittney, it's okay. Take this and create your platform and help others. It's okay. You went through it, you got through it, and I'm here. Um, so forgiveness is important. People have to
Yes.
understand you can't walk around with this burden on your shoulder, because you will always be stuck if you don't
Yes.
give yourself grace. And if God give me grace, and if God, you know what I'm saying, if he can do that and forgive me and forgive those, I can too. So
Amen. As well as, as well as forgiving ourselves.
exactly.
Um, because oftentimes as victims, we are taught by our abusers, or they drill it in our heads that, hey,
Mhm,
I act this way because it's your fault. You
mhm,
make me act out like this. You make me lash out. You make me physically hit you. You deserve those kicks. So one of the things I had to learn after going through the vicious cycle is forgiving myself, because sometimes when we open up and we reach out to others, you're fully aware that they'll say, oh, it is your fault. Well, you're dumb for staying. Why do you stay? Or why do you put up with it? So, you know, we're looking for a safe haven, or we're looking for, you know, a shoulder to lean on. And sometimes there may not be a safe haven, because you feel like you may be getting worse than what you're getting from your abuser when you hear things like, oh, well, you know, you're dumb for staying, you're stupid. I wouldn't put up with that. Why do you do it? So,
and you hear that a lot, but it's like in reality, you don't know what you would do when you're in those type of situations.
Well,
amen. You so-called love the person, or you feel like that's your person, or whatever the case is, you don't know what you would do. So when I do hear things like that, it's like it's easier said than done. But you know, women, we're already emotional. You know, we already have that. We're by nature, we're emotional, you know, women. So don't know. So
yeah, we're emotional, and we're nurturers, you know.
exactly.
God created us to be nurturers. So sometimes we honestly think that we can change people, especially those we love. And we, you know, we want to see the good in people, and especially those we love. And not saying that they're bad people, but there are just some things that are out of our control, that as nurturers we cannot do. It's not our job to do it. We can't do it. Only God himself can do it. So you know, we have to remember that. That's me. I just wanted to, if I can be honest, just wanted to love the hell out of some people. And we can't. We cannot.
Especially the change in a person.
Absolutely.
As much as you want to, it's like that person has to want to change.
Absolutely. And you know, we don't know what deep demons that they're dealing with, you know, that are so deeply embedded in them, because, you know, as you know, I truly don't believe that people are born abusers. And I truly don't believe that people want to be abusers, just like victims don't want to be victims, you know. There are so many underlying factors to make an individual, you know, take their misplaced anger, or, you know, their hurt and pain out on others. So, you know, for that, we see that hurt, we see that pain, and we're like, oh, I just want to stay because we feel guilty. They have a way of making us feel guilty, you know, you know, and you know, responsible for their pain. But so yes, we must in fact forgive them, forgive ourselves, and you know, give ourselves grace. Absolutely. So Brittney, I know that it is your heart's desire to bring women, you know, together, to partnership, to support, to encourage, to share love, to inspire, and to lift one another up. And how does that look for you? Because we live in a world that is competitive. And although I truly believe that as advocates, God, and this is just my thought or my opinion, predestined those that he would like for us to touch and to help, you know, heal, and to help, you know, on their transformation journey. And sometimes, quite honestly, it can be a competition when we are all in the realm of doing, you know, and just wanting and desiring to do the same thing. So how do you think we can break that cycle and just focusing on what our purpose is, you know, in helping others find their way to freedom and setting the captives free?
Well, I mean, I feel like we all individually have our own thing we bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So we can say it's like competitive, but I just feel like if you're doing it for the right reasons, it
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be competitive, right?
Yes.
But I can understand, like, some women really take what they do very serious. I just feel like at the end of the day, God is going to direct us he's going to connect us with the
Mm-hmm.
people that needs to be connected with when it comes to this assignment. We all are on an assignment. And
Amen.
those who know it's not competitive. I
Amen.
you can help me. Like I said, we can all bring something to the table. And I just feel like if women, we can have like this massive event, we all can bring something to the table. So I feel like people shouldn't go into it trying to compete with the person. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
all are on an assignment and we all have something different to bring to the table. Um, so I just feel like we should just not have that in our hearts to
Amen.
competitive.
Amen. I love it.
Um,
Amen.
so even with me, like when I see like different stuff online, and I'm just like, no, the enemy will try you. He will try to, uh, no, no. But
Yes.
God, I'm on an assignment. I want to work with that person. I want to, this person can probably help me. So
Yes.
I just feel like people should just look at it in that perspective,
Mm-hmm.
because this can be something amazing. Like we're touching so many different people and we don't even know it.
Absolutely. Amen.
So
Amen.
that's just my
Yes.
take on that.
Amen. I agree wholeheartedly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Brittney, if you could inspire just one person today, what would you say to them?
Keep going.
I love it. Keep going. I needed
Um,
that. I needed that.
keep going. Don't be consumed by the world.
Hmm.
Um, the world has a way of making us doubt a lot of things. Um, the world has a way of playing with our mental.
Hmm.
So I would just encourage a person to, whatever's on your heart to do it. Don't give up. It's not going to be easy. Um, it's not going to happen overnight. Trust the process. Um, and this is for me also, like I said, just don't give up. When I started SIP Women Empowerment, I started back in 2021. I
Hmm.
actually started in 2020, but it like took off in 2021. I had like my first networking event. I was like, oh yeah, I really like doing this. I want to do my podcast, and there's so much stuff that I want to do. I have like some activewear line coming out because I want to do host like different boot camps for women, so we can take our health serious. That's
Hmm.
important. We getting older. We need to take our health serious.
Amen. Amen.
So I just have a lot of different things that I'm working on, and I'm trusting the process. I'm trusting what God has for me, and I have to understand what's for me is for me. Um,
Amen.
and I also feel like this is the season where He is connecting me with people, because we could feel like, well, I don't have the money for this, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. I feel like
Hmm.
season He is connecting me with certain people. Sometimes things don't make sense to me, but I'm trusting the process and I'm trusting what He has for me. I'm like, He's not giving me all of these visions just because. It's
Yes.
going to happen. It may
Amen.
not happen tomorrow, but it's going to happen. And I'm actually proud of myself because this year I've had 3 events. My goal was to have at least 2. So I had 3 events. I had my women. Thank you. Yes, I'm so grateful. I had my I have an annual women's event in March for women's that month.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did like a Juneteenth sneaker ball. And then I had the domestic violence one. So to do that, I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. Okay, guys. Because
Absolutely.
I was like, how I'm gonna do this? But just
Amen.
having certain people that just is so super supportive, that makes it easier.
Yes.
So I would just encourage a person, just keep going. Don't
Keep going.
keep
I
going.
love it. You all heard that. Keep going. You heard it from Brittney. Keep going.
Mhm.
I so needed that
Yeah.
because sometimes we do get caught up in the what ifs. How am I going to do it?
Mhm.
Money isn't looking right. You know,
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, Brittney. So
Mhm.
thank you for encouraging me. And
You
I know that
welcome.
that just encouraged someone else because we look towards all those things, but we have to remember that if God gave us the vision,
Mhm.
then he will provide.
Yeah.
So he will not fail you. I am truly a witness, and Brittney most certainly is as well. You
Mhm.
all heard that. She desired two events. And look at God. He
Mhm.
blessed her to do three
Mhm.
and more.
And
And so that's a blessing.
I'm gonna share this. So the domestic violence event,
Hmm.
I was almost to the point where I was like, I can't do this.
Mm.
I was there and I was like, should I have it? Because I wasn't really selling tickets and things like that. It's
Hmm.
a discouraging moment for me. But I was
Yes.
like, God is like, mm-mm. I don't care if it's
Yes.
one or two people in that room. You're gonna
Amen.
have so I was like,
Amen.
okay.
Yes, that's a
So yeah.
teachable moment, not to get
Mhm.
caught up in the numbers. And what you
Mhm.
said earlier, you attest to what God has for you is for
It's
you.
for you.
And no matter if you just touched one,
Mhm.
that's the one that he predestined and strategically orchestrated for you to touch.
Yeah.
And so thank you for honestly
You
just, just feeding that to me. I needed that today and on most days. I do on most days. So Brittney, we are again just grateful for having you as
oh,
our special guest. We are just praying for all the best for S.H.I.F.T. And I just love what your acronyms stand for, and that's She is Phenomenal. I
period.
absolutely love it. And Brittney, you are phenomenal. I
Thank
mean that from the
you.
bottom of my heart.
You too.
I'm just grateful to God for just connecting us. If there's anything that S.H.I.F.T and I Am Linda's Voice can do to help you along the way, please reach out to us. This is not the end. I'm looking forward to us continuing to collaborate on many things to come,
Yes.
even outside of domestic violence.
Mhm.
And we're just honestly just praying for all of the best for you. Um, and more importantly, we're just grateful to God that you are still here to
Yes.
be able to share your testimony openly, transparently, boldly, and
Mm.
courageously.
Yes.
People don't understand what it takes to share your
Mhm.
story. Um, and domestic violence is ugly. It's cruel.
Mhm.
It destroys lives.
Mhm.
It destroys families. So thank you just for allowing yourself to open up and share a part of you and to just go into those deep dark places and spaces that aren't easy and people
Mhm.
don't understand it's not easy to go through those things and we as survivors and we're thriving,
Mhm.
and we're walking in our purpose. But what people don't also realize is that every single day we're faced with triggers
Mhm.
to something we might see. through something that might remind us of something, through a smell, through something, we've seen on social media, and people can be cruel on social, through the news, through just individuals. So it's not easy for a survivor to share his or her testimony. So honestly, I commend you and just big ups. And for that, I say that you are absolutely phenomenal, Brittney.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much.
It's not easy, but
it's not easy, but we
like
do.
I said, we have assignments and we just have to be obedient.
Amen. Yes.
So even before, this meeting, I prayed to God, and I'm just, like, just have your way,
Amen. Amen.
Because it's not easy. And of course, I'm like a little crybaby anyway. So I'm like,
oh, please. Please. Same here.
I'm in a good space. I am strong, and I'm so grateful that I'm in a place where I can speak about it.
Amen.
So,
Amen. One day at a time.
Strong. We are all strong.
Yeah, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 second at a time. We get so caught up as humans into thinking that there's a quick fix to dealing with grief. And I like to, just from my own experiences, I share that grief is a lifelong journey. And there is no ending point for grief. To me, I can only speak to me and attest to my healing journey. Healing looks different for everyone. And healing is a lifelong process. To me, there is no end, because we are always growing, and we are always evolving, and we are always transforming. As long as we have breath in our bodies, we are always, growing and transforming. And sometimes people think that there's an end to grief. Well, just from my own experience, there is not. There is not.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that's just my testimony. I can't speak for anyone else's, but that's certainly been my testimony. There will be days when you will be happy-go-lucky, and you are laughing and prancing around, and you might want to do a cartwheel.
Yeah.
And then that
I feel like that's the human. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, go right ahead.
I feel like that's the human part of us.
Yes.
So we have to understand.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
But you know what I say? Some people don't make it out of that dark.
Amen. They don't.
Mental is really messed up because of the trauma that they've been through.
Yes.
So to be one of the ones who went through that and came out with a clear mindset, like,
yes,
I may have my good days and my bad days, but my days always outweigh my bad days. I can say that.
Amen.
I have my little bad days. I cry, I pray, I cry, I pray. And then that's that. Like,
amen.
It's the God's hand at that point. Like, so
amen.
I really feel like that's the human part of us. Nothing is, we're going to have our moments, our triggers and things like that. We just have to learn how to cope with, some of the different things we've been through.
Yes. So you all, I just want to thank you for blessing us again and tuning in. We are so thankful for you. We love you. And listen, if you or anyone that you know is experiencing domestic violence, you can find help and resources by contacting the Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. And remember, you all, to shift. Peace and blessings.
What are you doing to heal? Remember, your healing is imperative. Healing renews, soothes, and makes you whole. Shift. See you right here next time.